Greetings. I know I promised that this week I'd produce my TED Talk from Bitcoin 2024 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. However, they're still editing it. So instead, one of the guys I met there, we actually had a long conversation about whether or not our products are Sharia compliant, that is compliant by Islamic law, which I never think about it, but I actually do now live in a Muslim country, and that's a big part of the world we're in. So in any case, take a look. I'm Nicholas Levenstein, and I manage crypto money fund Dollar Hedge 2, the hedge fund for my company, Nicholas Levenstein Company. And one of the great things about travel is that you have conversations and meet people that are wholly unexpected. We both met, me and Nazik Kamarudin, when we met at Bitcoin 2024 Malaysia. And one of the cool things about travel is that you get to have conversations that you would have never expected. And one of them was about whether or not the hedge fund and our method of doing business was Sharia compliant. One of the basic premises of our hedge fund is that we should always be trying to earn money for our investors. So we're just not sitting on an asset. We're also doing things to produce income off that asset. And while the income is predictable, I'm not sure you would call it interest, and that's a conversation we'll have. So I looked this up. This is the Prophet Muhammad's farewell sermon from Jerusalem in the Quran. So basically, trade is fine. Contracts are fine. You should you should be, forthright with your counterparties. But charging interest is not good. So let's see, all you have believed, do not consume interest, doubled and multiplied, but fear that Allah, you might be successful. And for the taking of usury while they have been forbidden from it and consuming of the people's wrath unjustly, we have prepared for the disbelievers among them a painful punishment. So this is very prohibited. So how do you build the Burj Al Khalifa Tower, right? I mean, and so how did they deal with this? So basically, if you have any comments or researched this is what I looked up. You can't charge interest, and you can have a lender. You can have sukuk, which is another equity holder with a special partnership agreements, right? So they're just going to get part of the profit. They don't get money no matter what. The sukuk, the equity investment, was used to finance construction costs. Also, as I understand it, like in non-Sharia real estate transactions, you could have one company like Emar here owning multiple properties, but like with regard to financing, it's only supposed to apply to one property. So, I mean, I guess this would suggest in Islam the idea of less financial shocks. Like there's less risk of the project just running out of money and then going bankrupt. Like it's going to get finished, it's going to get used, basically, barring some disaster. So again, I don't think this applies to us, except that we do think that our investors should enjoy some income off of what they do, and whether that qualifies as interest or not, we'll get to. So basically, there's not. I don't know if there's a two-tiered financial structure in Sharia finance, but there is no debt in that structure. There's not. There's no bond that could perform magnificently well while everybody else loses their money. Everybody takes money from the income of the project. And then again, the Empire State bonds were not tied to specific asset performance. They're really going to get their money. Whereas investors, if they didn't rent out any places in the Empire State Building or, in Burj Al Khalifa, if it had been part of the Islamic world. Okay, so let's go back to some Quranic verses. So Islam emphasizes transparency and fairness in transaction. So basically, I would say the asset we deal with, blockchain in general, like Bitcoin, is supposed to be open and transparent. It's digital money on a public ledger, so we're not dealing in anything that's prohibited. The instruments we deal in, more futures and options, weren't meant to bet the farm like back in the day. They're meant not to bet the farm. They're like to lock in income so you can pay your staff members and family and everything. And so this would be, maybe buying these assets would allow leverage in gambling, but we are doing the opposite. We're selling these assets and we have no net leverage. Okay, prohibition of interest. Again, I think when you sell a future, we can impute an interest rate, but it's not really it's not really interest. It's a delivery of a good at an agreed upon appreciated price in the future. If any of this you think would offend Islam, tell me, but I think we're so good on the products so far. Okay, so let's see, fulfillment of contracts. I would say that we're like 100% good on this because, as I showed you, we posted the collateral. So there's no moral risk on the other side. Like, they're going to get what we promised to sell. We gave them the option to sell, or we already agreed on a future price. Now, so in this case, because we're trading on exchanges, the punishment for not fulfilling obligations would be our own investors. We would be liquidated, but that's no risk, or at least there's no contractual risk of that. Okay, then finally, prohibition of gambling. So like you were saying, here in Surah Al-Ma'idah from the Quran, I guess the Prophet Muhammad says, "Oh, you have believed, indeed, intoxicants, gambling, stone altars, and divining arrows are but defilement from the work of Satan. So avoid it, so you may be successful." So, like, of the things that were banned there, gambling is definitely one of them. But again, our strategies lock in returns rather than or produce predictable outcomes. So I would say this is anti-speculative, anti-gambling. I could go back to the verse from the Quran, but you're not supposed to gamble as well as drink and other things. But if you're long these options and these futures and you use leverage, that could definitely be called gambling, or at least extreme speculation. Whereas if you own the asset and you're short them, then this is increasing the predictability of your results and decreasing the probability. Just decreasing the variability of what can happen to you. It's not gambling. It's more stable prices, more income.
With proper strategies and risk management, I think it is allowed. Yeah, that you actually take the effort to actually learn a bit or two about the Islamic terms and conditions. Thank you.
Crypto or Bitcoin is really cool because when money is reinvented, you can it affects all parts of our lives. To be continued?
Thank you so much for this session. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nazik.
It's a very good session. I actually learned a lot from you, and let's see where this relationship brings forward.
Yeah, likewise. Okay, cool. Thank you for speaking to something important to Malaysians. All right, ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.